member of our Latino community. He got up, ready to go to work. He was robbed at gunpoint and tragically shot. Fortunately, though, the injury is non-life-threatening. He'll be fine. However, unfortunately, this is something we're seeing way too often, and it's increased this year. A 62% increase of robberies targeting our Latino community. So today, I've got a friend, a peer, and someone that I personally know and can vouch for his care for the community here to speak. Oficial Claudia Jimenez will be here to present, both in English and Spanish, for those in our community who speak Spanish. Oficial Jimenez.
Good morning. Buenos días. My name is Officer Claudia Jimenez. I work for the Steel Creek Division of Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. Just like Officer Page indicated, we have seen a tremendous spike on violent crime against the Latino community. Our department is doing a great effort on combating that and allocating our limited resources to those areas that have been affected the most with these violent crimes specifically against Latino communities. We have seen so far this year 500 members of our community being victims of these violent crimes, and we're not done with the year yet. Also, as a department, we're trying to create a better environment so our officers could be more effective in these areas to combat these crimes. We like to prevent crime, not only deal with the crime when it happens and investigate it, but also prevent it. Now, how do we do that? And this is where I am, what I come in our areas. To me, it's like I tell everybody, knowledge is power. The more we know about how to prevent being a victim of a crime, the better we're going to be prepared. The more we know what to do if I become a victim of a crime, more effective our police officers are going to be in investigating these crimes. And sadly, we have seen that within our Latino community, that information has not been passed. I do these through different outreach programs that I have with meetings and meeting with people direct face-to-face and giving this information to them, answering questions and clearing some of these misconceptions to help them be more involved with us and to help us help them, basically. Just some safety tips so everybody could be on the same page. And I have some here. Basically, first, let's not walk on dark areas. And when we go out in the streets, make sure we are aware of our surroundings, we know where we're going. Let's try not to walk with our phones in our faces, because it's not only driving and texting. Believe me, I see, and I'm sure everybody see a lot of people walking and texting, and that takes us away from our surroundings. Also, if you feel like you become a victim of an armed robbery and you feel your life is being threatened either via a gun, let's not fight. Let's just be. Let's do what they tell us to do. Okay. Let's no property is going to be worth your life. Property can be recovered. Our lives cannot. Also. One of the biggest parts that we are requiring on this from our Latino community, specifically in this case, is be our eyes. How can you help us, help you in these cases? Be the best witness you can be. Observed, see descriptions, suspects' descriptions. What are they driving? What are they wearing? Any specific physical oddities or something that you can help us identify these individuals and bring them to justice. Basically, call 911. If you see something suspicious, don't assume that somebody else will call. Call. Make the call. You can be anonymous if you choose to, but call 911. Give us the opportunity to arrive, investigate, and help you. With your permission, I will also take a couple of minutes and do this in Spanish. para la comunidad hispana que nos está escuchando en esta mañana. Quiero comunicarles el sincero deseo del Departamento de Policía de Charlotte-Mecklenburg de poder ayudarnos en este momento que estamos pasando con este incremento en los crímenes violentos contra nuestra comunidad, específicamente hablando de asaltos a mano armada. Hemos visto un incremento bastante significativo donde las víctimas son hispanos. Entonces, tenemos que atacar este asunto siendo proactivos. Y como yo lo decía anteriormente, ser proactivos significa tener conocimiento, saber qué es lo que tenemos que hacer en caso para poder prevenir ser víctimas de crímenes y qué es lo que tenemos que hacer en caso de que caigamos víctimas de un crimen. Si nosotros sabemos lo que tenemos que hacer, vamos a ser más efectivos en comunicar esa información a la policía. Ellos van a hacer un mejor trabajo investigando este crimen y también vamos a poder traer a estos sospechosos a la justicia. Esa es la idea que tenemos. Basados en esa idea, estamos tratando de llegar a toda la gente de habla hispana. Es mi trabajo específico de poder entregar esta información. Información específica. No caminemos en lugares oscuros. Si tenemos que salir en la noche de nuestros apartamentos, hagámoslo, pero no lo hagamos solos. También, no caminemos con nuestros teléfonos enfrente de nosotros. Tengamos cuidado, estemos siempre pendientes de nuestro alrededor. Sepamos dónde estamos yendo. Si observamos algo sospechoso, llamemos al 911. Si no queremos dar nuestra información personal al llamar al 911, no tenemos que hacerlo. Podemos hacerlo en forma anónima. Pero hagámoslo, porque así ustedes nos ayudan a nosotros a poder atacar ese tipo de problemas. Si usted cae víctima de un crimen, de un asalto a mano armada, si su vida o su seguridad está siendo amenazada por un arma, no pelee, simplemente entregue lo que tiene. Créame que ningún tipo de propiedad, ni teléfono, ni dinero vale su vida. Todas esas cosas pueden ser recuperadas, pero no su seguridad física. Principalmente, ayúdenos a ayudarles. Y este es el mensaje que tenemos. Y yo voy a seguir comunicando este mensaje a la comunidad, a quien me quiera escuchar, porque creemos que es una necesidad que tenemos en este momento. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much for your time. Any questions?
Yeah, I think Officer Bates said that maybe up 60% or something like that. I mean,
Yes.
Is there any indication why that, from your guys' data, anything like that? And then secondly, are these crimes targeting, the Hispanic homes and communities? Or homes and apartments, are there businesses? I mean, both? I mean, what's your data kind of shown there?
Well, basically, what we are observing on the fields, biggest reasons are, there's a couple main ones that for some reason people, it's like common knowledge. They think that Hispanics are less likely to call 911 when they're victims of a crime. And sadly, a lot of times it is. These numbers that we have here are underrated. We know there's a lot more happening that people just decide not to call. Now, why don't they call? That's what my job is, to attack that portion of it. Give the people the understanding that they can call 911, that we are here, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department are here to help fight crime, prevent crime, and deal with crime, and investigate crime. And if they call us, we will come and help, no matter who it is. So that's one of them, the fear, this alleged fear that is out there. And that comes from misconceptions. That's the word I like to use a lot with people. A lot of misconceptions, things that people sometimes think that are not necessarily true, but for some reason they think they are. Another thing is that for some reason, and I'm Latino, and I tell the community this all the time. Don't carry large amounts of cash in your pockets, please. There's no reason. I think I have $20 in my pockets right now. That's all I'm allowed. I don't, but for some reason, we have people, sometimes we take reports where people, they've been taking $600, $800, over $1,000 in cash. So when that happens, these individuals, they talk among each other. They'll say, hey, that's easy. Number one, they're not going to call 911. And number two, that's cash. So I think those are the two main ones that I've been observing. And that's what I'm trying to clear out and try to help people understand.
And is it more homes and apartments, or is it their businesses, or is it kind of, what have you guys been seeing there?
That's a good question, actually. A lot of us happen in apartment complexes where the population of these apartments is majority, great majority are Latinos. They're hardworking people. They go out in the morning early before even sun comes up to work, and that, a lot of the times that's when they become victims of these crimes. Yes.
I've talked to some Latino advocates in the past who say they think it would help to have more Spanish-speaking officers. I've seen some of the tweets that CMPD's put out there to kind of encourage that. They said not only to help with the language barrier, but also to build trust. What do you think about it? Is that needed?
That actually, you remind me of a third reason that I always I have identified, and it's the language barrier. That's a huge barrier. I came to this country when I was 22 years old, a long time ago, and I didn't speak a word of English. I had to learn it. So I understand what it is to be in a place where you wanna function, you wanna be proactive, you wanna be productive, but yet you cannot understand, and it creates fear. So I think that it's a tremendous opportunity that we have as CMPD to enlist and recruit Latino officers. We need them. And if any young man or ladies are listening to me right now, come in, work with us. Come in and join the team. We need you, because believe me, the need is overwhelming. Before I took this role of communicating directly with the community, I was in patrol on second shift on Steel Creek with Officer Page, and I tell you, almost 80% of my calls for service were in Spanish. And I would get a lot of my friends working with me, Claudia, hey, I need help translating, because the need is there. It's not something we just thinking, it is there. So that's another very, very important reason.
You know the ratio, I don't know if you might not have it offhand. I know we reported on it like a year or so ago. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly, but it's not high. Thank you very much.
So as Officer Jimenez did here a second, real quick for the record, Claudio, C-L-A-U-D-I-O, Jimenez, J-I-E-Z. And we as a department, as Officer Jimenez just did, frequently use this platform, especially these Wednesdays, to inform and educate the community, because it is our unified efforts that not only solve crimes, but also prevent future crimes. I learned something the other day that I thought was interesting, and I think proves the importance of our unified efforts. At a time, November and December, when there's a lot of retail, a lot of gift buying, a time where you think that crimes would be up, property crimes would be up, I actually saw them down last year. Larcenies were down 6%, car break-ins were down 11%, and residential break-ins were relatively unaffected. And I think that goes to a big part to our unified efforts. So what we want to do today is two parts. One, Captain Brian Sanders is here. He's the commander, the captain of the Steel Creek Division, which you all know has a high retail presence. He will kind of give you some context of what the department's doing on an operational level. And I'll come back up here in a few more minutes to close it out with some safety tips and some context for the community on how they can help us. All right, Captain Sanders?
Morning. Steel Creek Division is very large. We're about 60 square miles. We have a lot of retail organizations, outlets, the Outlet Mall, Targets, Walmarts, shopping malls. And obviously during the holidays, a lot of this will increase dramatically with visitors coming in town to visit family, to come specifically to Charlotte to shop. And it's going to be a significant increase. We want to provide as safe, I guess, a safe place for that to happen. We want the citizens to know that we want them to enjoy the time with family, enjoy the time that they're going to have out there on Black Friday at 4 o'clock in the morning, standing in line buying a TV. but we want everybody to know that we're out there with them. So a couple of things that Steel Creek's doing, and I can say that I know that the rest of the city is doing a lot of the same things. Steel Creek will be deploying some foot patrols out in specific areas, some of these shopping malls, the pavilion, the outlets. You'll see increased patrols out there. Outlets, the Tanger Outlet Mall has actually hired off-duty officers to increase security out there on top of what they normally have. The Steel Creek Division will also be deploying our dual sport in the outlet mall, so you might see a dirt bike riding around, trying to help you feel safe as you're walking to and from your car. The Carolina Pavilion, same thing. We're going to deploy dual sports out there, foot patrol out there. So overall, it's really just being very strategic in how we're going to deploy our extra resources. We have some overtime that we're using as well. So I know I'm speaking of Steel Creek, but my peers throughout the city, that cover North Lake, South Park, some of the bigger retail areas in the city are doing the same thing. So I can speak directly of Steel Creek, but I know for a fact that these other areas are doing the same thing. Just to be out there so you guys can enjoy family, enjoy shopping, and spend the money that you came here to spend. So do you have any questions for me?
You said they were down. Are people getting smarter, or are they just finding other places to get what they need?
Crime,
Yeah.
some of the larcenies. I think there's so many factors that go into that. Arresting the right people, the investigations that we're conducting, our officers on patrol, like Officer Jimenez was talking about patrol. You think about second shift. You see a car, a CMPD car riding down the road at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's a patrol car. Maybe responded to a call, but he also might be going to prevent a crime. So when we make these, conduct these investigations, a lot of times we may not know how many crimes that actually prevented. So, I know it's a very vague answer, but there's a lot that goes into the difference in crime from one year to the next. A lot of times it's a mixture of us being in the right place and making the right arrests. All right.
Thank you.
Again, for the record, his name's Captain Brian, B-R-I-A-N, Sanders, S-A-N-D-E-R-S. And as he mentioned, I've also personally spoken with the captains of several divisions, specifically the North, South, and Providence Division, where of many others, there's a large retail presence, and they've each informed me of their own unique approaches to not only making the community safe, but also ensuring the community safe. So every time you hear the motor of a dual sport, or see the Sky Tower, or pass by an officer on foot or on bike, just know that those were purposeful considerations of each division, all right? Considering considerations, it was a little redundant, I've got some safety tips to provide for the community. I see that you are all still here, so Boo must have worked tremendously. So this time I'm going to use a more seasonal appropriate term of gobble. All right, G, gift guarding. Don't leave your packages unattended when you're shopping. Make sure that you don't carry too many packages at one time. Take them out to your car, put them in your car, go back shopping. But let me sit here for a second. Do yourself a favor, do us a favor. Close your door, lock your car, roll your window up, and put these packages somewhere where you can't see them from the outside of the vehicle, okay? For those of you in the 21st century who are actually shopping online and not going out to stores, there is that dynamic of leaving that package out on the porch and having people steal those off the porch. It does happen. I know it happens, all right? So what you can do to prevent that, have somebody retrieve the package. If you're not available, have somebody else retrieve the package. If you live in an apartment complex, leave it with the leasing office. There's many ways to combat this issue. Just go out of your way to do that so you don't have to struggle trying to find a gift for your loved one last minute. O, orchestrate your operations. This is, kind of across the board safety tips every time, but know where you're going, how to get there, and share that with those who are not only going with you, but the family members, so that way in emergencies you know what to do. Make sure that you seek out areas that are well-known, populated, well-lit. B, build your base, your home base. You live in your home, that's your fortress, that's where you seek solitude and safety. Don't treat it any differently when you're away, all right? Secure your home, lock your doors, your windows, close that garage door. Make sure from the exterior you can't see anything valuable like electronics, packages, Christmas presents, that kind of thing. Second B, since I have to find two vowels back to back, be a buddy, okay? I don't want this to land on deaf ears, so I'll word it this way. Friends don't let friends who have eaten too much turkey drive tired. All right, along that same path, all right, there is some celebration that goes along, so make sure when you're driving it's not distracted on the cell phones or by your passengers. Passengers, keep that in mind. Also, make sure you're not intoxicated, impaired, all right, and make sure that you're not tired. Find alternate ways to get to your location safely, not only for yourself, but for the community as well. Also, and you know, we see far too often that situations escalate to violence that just could have ended verbally, all right? If you see a friend that is starting to get a little too heated, pull him back. He'll thank you later. He might not like you at the time, but he'll thank you later for not making a poor decision. L, I worked on this one. Let law enforcement know about lawlessness, all right? Call 911 for any emergencies going on. Call 911 for any ongoing crimes. And if you see something suspicious, do not hesitate. Call 911. We'll come out and investigate it. If it's not suspicious anymore, no harm, no foul, we'll move on, okay? Leave also information with Crime Stoppers. If you know anything about a crime that's happened in the past, 704-334-1600. Not only can you leave it anonymously, but there's also a cash reward of up to $500 for information leading to an arrest. Last thing, E, and notice you can't get to E unless you followed all the previous letters. Enjoy your escapades, all right? Enjoy your family time. Enjoy the time shopping, and enjoy the food, all right? Any questions? Outstanding. All right. Thank you for coming.
Milestone, but Charlotte's hit 100 homicides, 99 and 100 happening within 12 hours. Is there anything to say to the community? I know this is, people are shaken up by this, and they have been for months.
I think people are shooken up by just one homicide. I'm shooken up by just one homicide. One homicide's too many. The fact that we've reached triple digits, I mean, each individual person, they're people, they're not a percentage. So I think the message here is that a lot of these homicides are happening as a result of verbal altercations escalating to violence, okay? So, and that violence leading to a homicide. So think about what's going on. Don't automatically jump to violence. That should be a very, very last resort. Pull that friend away, like I said a minute ago, pull that friend away who is about to make a poor decision. He'll thank you for it later. It's no lie. We've said it several times. Our enforcement's up. Our engagement's up. Our response to calls for service are down. Our detectives are working day after day and arresting people. Community's help with this. Circling back, though, to these past two homicides. We need the community's help for this. Have them call 911 with any information they've got. And again, there's always Crime Stoppers. Information can be left anonymously, and there's a cash reward of up to $5,000 leading to an arrest and a homicide. Plus, you will help that family, the victim's family, get that one step closer to closure.
And then yesterday we reported that Chief Putney is just determining if they're going to, department's going to stay with the electronic monitoring program. I know they were going through that. Is there anything we can say on that? That's a decision being made soon. Is there a timeline, or is that just being considered?
I'm not really privy to information. It's kind of outside of my lane. Be happy to.
I can talk quickly about that page. Yeah, it's well documented. He's spoken with a number of outlets about his desire to reassess the electronic monitoring program and our involvement in it. You have currently 456 people that are being monitored electronically, pre-trial monitored, 29 of whom are homicide suspects. Chief is doing a reassessment to determine whether this is an investment that we could keep investing in, resources, staffing, and funding, and he'll come to a conclusion that will allow the community to remain a safe community. This is an opportunity for him to reassess and find out if we're getting as much as we should and could from the system. I think one of the overarching issues for the Chief of Police is his concern with having 29 homicide victims that are back out in our community, possibly for upwards of a year and a half, 2 years. So it's a concern for the Chief. It should be a concern for the community.
What happens if the department does pull out of the program? Is that,
I'm not going to get into the hypotheticals. I think that there'll be an opportunity to have discussions with people that are a lot smarter than I am. They'll figure this out and figure out a way to keep our community a safe community, but something's clearly got to give.
thank you.
One more question, just, the homicide in East Charlotte, the arcade, the adult arcade, Major Butler, I think, was out there that morning. He spoke a little bit to this, but just what extra challenges is something, places like those kind of tend to you guys? I know it's 24, but usually they're 24/7, usually they have cash on hand. I guess what extra challenges do some of those places kind of present for you guys to patrol and you know, keep them on the up and up and things like that?
Well, yeah, and that's not lost on any of us. You know, for those who've been covering the market for a while, I guess you could say that these arcades now could be the artists previously known as sweepstakes parlors, right? I mean, really not much of a difference outside of the name. And we've been on the record for years talking about the challenge that it is from an enforcement perspective and getting our arms around that, because the purveyors of these establishments frequently will make the adjustments necessary to find themselves compliant with statute. I will say that we are in the process of having some pretty direct conversations with the purveyors of these organizations, working with our legal folks to determine if there is any daylight that we have there from an enforcement perspective to start to take some of that enforcement action and keep the community a safe community.
I was going to add, is that taking it as far as maybe shutting them down, I guess would be the most extreme? Is that something you guys would be able to do? Is that state level? How does that kind of work? Try to get that conversation started and things like that?
Yeah, I think that's going to have to be a collective effort, but I think the first step in that effort is going to be determine just how much legal latitude we have in that regard. Again, not to belabor it, but you know, it's been a challenge just from a legal standpoint in identifying an opportunity to find that they're violating some of the rules of the current statute, and that's where the smart legal people will get involved and determine what it is that we can do from a legal perspective. Yeah, anybody else? All right, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Telemundo, if you wanted to hang back, we'll make Officer Jimenez available. And I also believe that Officer Page has got something he wants to distribute to everyone with regard to those preventive tips. Thank you.